Hi, this is Tom Barber back again at Radio Works, and I'm thrilled to be back. I really am enjoying the opportunity to share some of my ideas and some of my thoughts with you. And it's always wonderful to be speaking with Marina, because she's a light in the world, and I really feel blessed to have the opportunity to share any time with her. You know, over the last couple of episodes on Radio Works and with the things we've been talking about, it's really helped me sort of, you know, get aligned with, in a sense, the unfolding process of what we do. And I wanted today to offer you the opportunity of the next stage in the process. I know, Marina, that our usual spot for this interview was yesterday, and unfortunately I couldn't make it. I do apologize, but Sandra and I had been given a wonderful gift by my brother for a day out at the theatre in London, and I couldn't turn that down for anything. So I'm pleased to be here today, and my throat is a little croaky because I saw the most wonderful play. It was called The Show That Goes Wrong, and everything went wrong. It was a real sort of Laurel and Hardy slapstick comedy. So I spent, 3 hours just laughing, but I had a wonderful time. But I'm really pleased to be back and speaking with you. So thank you for having me back again.
Wow, Tom. What can I say? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are here in the right place. So take notes, take a big notepad this time, because what Tom is about to share with you is going to blow your mind away. Each time I feel, Tom, that listening to you, I become a better person, a better version of myself. I go deeper and deeper into what I did not know about my mind, what I did not know what is available, what I did not know, never guessed that is possible. And oh God, life is the show that goes wrong if you are not listening to Tom Barber's episode each week, because he got it all, and he is here to share with you everything that could go wrong to be replaced with what you already have and is already so beautiful and is ready to burst and come out into the world. Over to you, Tom.
Thank you for that. They're very kind words, Marina. It's very nice to hear, and thank you so much. And again, I feel very humbled to be back, because, as I've said before, I feel the knowledge that I have and that I want to pass on it's not mine. I'm a conduit for it. It's come from places perhaps sometimes where I can't even pinpoint yet. Of course, I've done a lot of learning over the years, and lots of reading and lots of experiences that I've gained this from. But some of it, I'm not sure where it comes from.
I think this is my theory, Tom.
Yeah.
You remember when we met first with Sandra and yourself in Toronto in, I remember, 2013.
Yeah, wonderful.
And we were talking about our vision and how we want to help other people like ourselves and serve the world. Basically, this is what we were talking about creating better life choices. And struck me the fact that since then, you did not change, in a sense that, I don't know how to put this, but you did not change. You are the same soul to me. What happened, no matter how much money you spend on financing your education and investing in yourself, which is a great thing, of course, but you are sinking into your own authentic self. You become not the person who were teaching you or people you learn from or inspired you. You become this amazing Tom Barber, which I felt you were there, but you weren't out. You're inside. You're almost like not visible to others, but I could see. You remember we were talking with Sandra at the time, and I was thinking, oh my God, you too, you could change the world just barehanded. all you have is to be out there and share your message, and you are doing such a wonderful work with the Intelligent Help Self-Help School, and opening the gates for each one of us to embrace challenges and dig deep into who you are and what is in your mind, and it's an adventure. Thank you so much for taking us on, all of us, on this adventure of the mind, and making us see the wonders, because oh my God, there are things I never think it's possible to see, and what I see now with my mind is just beyond words. Oh, over to you, Tom, because it's I can't wait for today's lessons, and I have a big notepad, I have 2 pens just in case, and I'm ready to learn.
Fantastic. That's it's so interesting what you said, and I have a story about that today. But I really wanted to look at was kind of the next part of the process in terms of, how to help yourself break free and become who you truly are and authentically live life in the way that you're put here for. In our first episode, we looked at the whole notion of self-help and how, approaching it in an intelligent way was so much more effective than simply following somebody else's plan and somebody else's program and somebody else's ideas. We looked at beliefs last time, and breaking through mistaken beliefs and limiting beliefs to really sort of unlock that potential. But when you talk about us meeting in Toronto, which I remember like it was yesterday, it was a really interesting time for both Sandra and I, because, as you know, we've been working for many years, over 20 odd years, a lot of the time with individuals, and sort of coaching and using therapy with them and different sort of NLP techniques. And we had been training groups for many years also, but the main application, if you like, of our knowledge to help people change was on a one-to-one basis. And we got to the stage where, I don't know if you've ever had this, Marina, but you feel like something is trying to burst out of you. And
definitely. Each day I'm thinking, oh my God, because I set my goal before, that I have to help at least one person to find out who they truly are and broadcast their passion. And last year I decided, just exactly a year ago, I decided I have to do more. I have to help them more. I have to help at least 10 people a day. And this is how Radio Wars World it's happening, because of my desire. It's such a divine desire to help as many people as possible. It's as if I'm too selfish. We were talking before the show, and I said, you know what, let's go online, let's go on air, because it's too selfish of us to keep this between ourselves. We have to share it. So yes, I feel that, and I feel the urgency, to share to share and your story and broadcast your passion, because it's not about you, it's not about me even, it's about the people who listen and understand who they could be, who they could grow into, because each one of us is setting goals. And I used to have external goals. I dropped them long ago. Now I have this divine goals, to help other people. And I had to grow into the person able to deliver that, to deliver my dream. My dream is to broadcast your passion. And I had no idea how to do. But then I said to myself, wow, I'm doing this. I'm doing this anyway, on a horseback. So I understand exactly your desire. And my branding coach which is one of the greatest mentors anyone could have in their life, James Michael Lafferty, I mentioned to you before. This is what I learned from him, and it's so true. It's not the destination. Winning is not everything. It's your desire to win.
That's
Over to you, Tom. Sorry.
that's definitely a powerful message. And Marina, I know that you're helping more than 10 people a day. Absolutely, vastly more than that. So it's really great to hear that you understand that, because Sandra and I both, when we was in Toronto, was at a real point in our life where we'd been helping lots of people over the years. I've seen thousands of clients over the years, but it gets a stage where you want to help not just thousands but millions of people, because there are millions of people that need the knowledge that we have to live a better life. And so when we met you in Toronto, we were sort of looking for, really, I guess, for a way to get that message out there and to become the person that's able to do that. Because when you work one-to-one with people for so many years, you become quite insular, and in a sense you kind of forget how to get your message out in a way that is palatable for people, and in a way that is in a way that they can understand in real life. I had this conversation in a coaching session with Raymond, and one of the things that he said to us at the time, and what it ended up us going into Toronto for, was that, yeah, you've got this incredible knowledge, but you need to learn how to put it into a palatable delivery so that people can understand it and that it makes sense to them. And that was really sort of, the beginnings of self-help school, and that's where it all came about. So that was a real important time for us, and I think for both Sandra and I, it's what's enabled us to really step out into the world and embrace it in a way that we kind of didn't think was possible. Because when you do that really from an authentic place, and you know why you're doing it, and you have kind of the end in mind as to who you want to help and why you want to help them, there's no fear attached to that. It's almost like it just dissipates, because you're doing what you should be doing. I see lots of people that are stepping up and wanting to be heard, and they haven't quite got the why in place. And I see the fear, and I see the reluctance to say what really is on their mind. And you know what? That's what people want to hear. They want to hear your voice, don't they?
Yes, Tom, and you mentioned Raymond Aron, which is my very first coach I ever had. I had no idea there are people like him in the world. I didn't know he existed. It was the universe conspiring for me to have the privilege of learning from Raymond, and he's a genius. He if anything, mediocrity for him doesn't exist. He doesn't have that word in his vocabulary, and he saw in you something you could not see. And it's, once you understand what he is about, you feel the need to become the person he sees in you. Yeah. And takes courage, of course, and takes faith, and takes a community to support you, because surely if you go back to your family after learning for 3 days from Raymond, they're going to think you lost it. It's something wrong with you. You are on something. And many times people were asking me, what are you on? I want some. And I used to say, I'm on Raymond Aron. So he brought so much inspiration in so many people, thousands and thousands of people all over the world. And if it wasn't for him, we would not be here. Surely I wouldn't be here speaking my heart out, because I did not know it's an option.
Yeah. He brings out something incredible. One of the biggest things I want to thank him for is actually, him being there means that we met you. And that's been a real inspiration to me too, is having our friendship and learning from you as well, because what you say and your voice and your message is so powerful, Marina. So I thank Raymond for that, as well as showing us in a sense how to do what we do.
I think to me, I never said this before, but to me, what meeting you and meeting your greatness, it wasn't about how I'm going to do this anymore. You know, it wasn't, that was before, but after I met you, everything turns into, wow, I'm doing this. I am this person, you know? So in a way that removed all the breaks for me, because at that dinner on we talked and like mad people, we couldn't, you know, we inspired each other, and basically we just, since then, even on different parts of the world, wherever we are at the time, we are building that platform, sorry, from where we inspire each other, because inspiration is in short supply, very short supply. So you know, how much can you take from a mentor? So he's giving you that much because there are other people he needs to serve, and there's the world out there that he needs to take care of. So, but on Radio Works World and the Academy of Significance, which is connected with, is building all the time a larger platform from where people could inspire each other, could listen to each other and understand their true worth. Because when somebody looks at me and thinking, oh, if she can, I can, that's all I want, Tom. That's all I want. I want to be the proof that is all possible. There is no such thing like impossible. That doesn't exist. And it's wow, I'm here. So I don't know what's next. I don't have a plan, but I think there is a divine plan. And like you discover your true gift in that moment, when you're away from home and you're all by yourself, and you had that Eureka moment. And our listeners could go back to our previous episode. I think you explained in the first episode, and I could put the link up again for them to listen into it. Is that Eureka moment. So there is the preparation of being ready to receive that moment and embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's paramount to be open to it. But you see, this is sort of the area that I wanted to open up into today, is in terms of getting to that stage, as you've described. What there needs to be is the ability to integrate change into what you do, because you know how the old saying goes, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
For sure.
And that saying has been attributed to so many people now. Some people saying comes from Einstein or Henry Ford, Tony Robbins, Mark Twain. Heck, I've even heard it being attributed to Aerosmith and Kung Fu Panda. But the fact is, the message remains the same. If you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same result. And so what we had to do at that stage was really step inside ourselves and do within ourselves what we've been doing for other people and with other people, for many, many years. And that was really to accelerate our ability to become who we really are, which meant that we needed to change a few things about how we operated and what we did. And this is the kind of work that we're doing a lot now, not just with individuals, but with corporates as well and companies, because with startups, the way that the speed at which they're forming now, we see a lot of companies, they haven't got time really for long drawn out changes to happen. So they're wanting fast, effective change quickly. And that's a big part of our work now. So it's not just individuals, it's groups. And this is the way we're sort of getting out there in a much bigger way to help more people. And it's really interesting because some of the strategies that we're using can just accelerate change, not just in an individual, but in a whole community, in a company, in a group, in an educational setting. And when you see people coming together where they're aligning themselves to who they really are, and they're enabled to make the changes that will help them perform better, to be more productive, to get over things that might be holding them back. It's a real privilege, and it's some of these changes that we're seeing are quite powerful.
You see, Tom, I was thinking while we were talking about startups and corporations and people who have something to a great service to deliver, and I was thinking that every heartbreak, every loss you encounter, every defeat, every bad experience delivers a seed, and you learn a lesson. You understand it's not it's just a battle you lost, and you are learning, which is another way of winning. But all these lessons we learn along the way, they will help your performance, because you're talking about performance the other day. I love this word, performance, and for me it's made of a couple of words, perform, and I don't know what C stands for, but anyway, I'm going to figure that out one day. But almost every one of us can really stand up in front of adversity, turn it into a challenge, and is a test. But the real test in life is when you gain the power and what you do with the power you've been given. So you allow yourself to unleash your power, and what's next is very, very different for each one.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, unless you have a mentor, unless you have someone who is already where you want to be to guide you, because at some point you are going to unleash your power, you are going to discover. It's a process. For some people it's just like that in 3 seconds, for other people it's 12 seconds, for other people it's 12 years or never. But when you walk on fire and they are telling you, don't think of your skin getting burned, don't think of that. Just think, at the end there are people to celebrate you because they've done it, and now you're one of them. You are on the other side now. You are inside the other side. So this is what keeps me going, is the fact that once I'm on the other side, wherever I'm going, I'm not quite sure where, there will be people, amazing people to inspire me more, because it's all I need. I have everything. I know I have everything else. I got it all. But I need inspiration to be able to manifest those powers, those divine energies I have, and help others. And I know there are other people, the other, like Raymond Aron, and they're waiting there to celebrate me once I'm there. So I'm not thinking of how difficult it is, how my skin is going to burn, I'm going to go to and just need medical attention. I'm not thinking of that. It is a metaphor, of course, but all I'm thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful one day to be in the same place where these people who inspire me greatly, like Richard Branson, Raymond Aron, James Michael Lafferty, and so many others, Oprah Winfrey, and Tony Robbins. And once I step into that place where they will celebrate me, that's all I can think of, because life is about celebration. And unless you celebrate life with the people who you think you belong with, there is very little scope for going through all the hurdles or the obstacles, all the battles you have to win all the time.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's an interesting.
It's creating your legacy, basically. So what I'm saying by being celebrated and being with the people who already created a legacy is creating your own legacy and feeling that now I paid my own way in life. I know why I was born. It was worth it. It wasn't easy. It was maybe dreadful, maybe very, very hard, maybe not so hard. Everybody's different, but it was worth it. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. it definitely is worth it. It's an interesting analogy you use about the fire walk, because I remember when Sandra and I did this at a Tony Robbins event, and it really, it really shows and highlights how important it is to be able to focus on something, on the other side, and to get a sense of that you're going to be moving and changing into a different place, and we sort of really understood that, because we understand kind of how we work in a sense of our internal strategies for change and success and performance, and it's kind of the area that we really do a lot of work in now. You see, people are they have different ideas about the same things. What one person perceives about reality is not always what another person perceives. So it's really, there's a big thing here about the strategies that somebody uses, and how that's organized as well, in terms of what we call the meta programs they use to make sense of their strategies. It's if you took two different people in terms of making a decision about something, about becoming the person that they truly feel they should, for example, one person might have a couple of different pictures in their mind of different people they're going to become, and they might have 3 or 4 images, and they'll pick 2 of them and say, okay, they'll narrow it down, and then they'll choose the one that sort of fits them the best. But for another person, it's much more about how they feel about who they want to become, and then they'll choose 2 different feelings and relate their journey into the place that you've been describing based on how they feel. So it's about the same result, but it's a different strategy on how we get there. And that's really based on how we sort of internally organize things. People can get to the same place, but they can do it in very different ways. And that, I think, is the beauty in the work that we do, and I know the work that you do, is that it's never the same. People are so different that you can't use the same approach every time and expect to get the identical result, because you have to adapt to the individual person or the group that you're working with. And it's just a wonderfully freeing place to be, because that you just got to respond to what comes, and then respond to what comes next.
So what comes next is always, to me, is a big stepping stone. You see, when I retired from my business, and I was in a very comfortable place, I could enjoy life, and I had a beautiful place, and nothing else. So being very, very engaged in your business, focusing on the work, focusing on delivering a good service to your clients, lots of love, and provide for your family, keeps you revolving the same external goal, if you want, is always about the others. But comes a time in your life, and that happened to me, when everybody is so busy, and because you are not serving them anymore, they don't have time. And quite rightly, I mean, when life is so hectic and everybody on the fast lane, and when they could find the time to sit down and have dinner like they used before, it's never enough time. And they feel running out of time. Or now you suddenly have all the time in the world, and what are you going to do about it? What's next? So this is when I felt like I'm going through the darkest time of my life, when I should have celebrated all my achievements, everything I dreamed of, I accomplished. Beautiful children, everything I always wanted, I realized, and I had it, and I had nothing else. So I went through this black tunnel. Actually, I like to imagine that I was an undeveloped picture of myself. So I had to go to the dark room first because I couldn't walk, I couldn't my children were very scared. It was nothing wrong, but I couldn't stand up. I tried to, and I dropped dead in front of my house. So there were, it was nothing wrong with me. I had no life left in me.
Yeah.
So I took myself into dark place, and I start in that dark room, and start developing myself, developing the colors I had inside, and I brought them outside, and that's all that happened. And I never looked back. And to me, the first book, because I never met Raymond Aron like everybody else, it was a gift for me. So I just followed the online program, and they published my book, and that was my birth certificate. Is when I signed up for reinventing myself, and it was very, very confusing, and it was a process. And I feel it now after, because I gave myself 1,000 days. I thought it was very, very hard, and I thought at the end of this 1,000 days I'm going to know what's next. So after 1,000 days, actually a little bit before that, I had this Eureka moment, and I realized that life is about to start, and it's happening, and it's happening as we speak. And I'm sharing my story because I can't teach. It's nothing I can teach. Everybody already knows everything I know and more. It's just the courage to share of yourself and understand that you do have something so unique that unless you deliver that, your own creation, into the world, a lot of people are going to miss out. Great deal. Because to me, Tom, the world is this massive puzzle. And yes, it's not perfect, and there are so many pieces missing. But guess what? Each one of us could have a choice, be the missing piece or the masterpiece.
Yeah, I love this. This is really powerful. It's
I'm work in progress, of course, and I don't know, but I know it's something happening already next. I'm almost like I'm ahead. I can see myself from ahead of me. I can't explain it, but this is how I feel. So I'm always ahead. So even I have this, I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me, because I wake up in the morning, I look at my diary, who are the people I'm going to interview today? I start contacting them, and actually I said, but that's tomorrow. So I'm already into tomorrow every single day. And I feel so embarrassed. I said, oh my God, it's only Friday, it's not Saturday. But in my mind, I'm already there. And maybe you could explain that to me, how that feeling of being ahead of yourself, which is so scary.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's really interesting that you said that, because one of the things, one of the processes that I often do with the people I work with, and we do it with not just individuals, again with groups, and maybe as your listeners, as they're listening to this, can imagine this process, because I think it explains quite well what you're talking about. And you said something previously as well, which I think really links in, and that is about, life isn't perfect. And I think a lot of the time people are looking for perfection, and it doesn't exist. It's like when people achieve a certain degree of success, or they get a certain amount of money, and it doesn't feel like they thought it would. And then they want more. And then they want more because it doesn't fit what their idea of success was. And it's not perfect. And it doesn't matter how much success you have, how much money you have, what you have. It's about what's coming from within. So I think this notion of accepting that perfection doesn't exist, but what's important is who you're becoming is a really profound point you've made there, Marina. The process that you describe of almost feeling like you're ahead of yourself is really, it's so linked in to one of the methods that I use with people, is to And imagine this now. Imagine that you're walking along a path. Maybe it's a path in the countryside or wherever the path is. Imagine that ahead of you, you see another person. And actually, it's an image of you. It's like an alternative you. And
The
it's
best version of myself.
yeah, it's the you that you've become when you've achieved what you want to achieve.
Yes.
And imagine that you're walking behind that version of you, because that version of you is walking in the same direction as you. So you're just walking behind her. And then I get them to imagine doing a complete 360 degrees view around that person, so they can get a real sense of how they look, how they move, how the expression on their face and the look in their eyes. And then they begin to speed up and eventually take a leap into that person and actually become them. But you see, when you've had the opportunity to see yourself, you realize something quite powerful. And that is that who you're becoming and who you become when you have achieved all you want is not dissimilar to who you are now.
Wow.
And when you realize that actually you're closer to that person than you ever thought, then it instills such a confidence, because you know that it's not an insurmountable task, it's not impossible, perfection isn't needed. Actually, what you need to do is to take the leap, to take the step and become the person that you actually already are. It's a wonderful thing to take someone through that. I've just got goosebumps now describing it to you.
I Wow, I'm so grateful, Tom. You know, when we were talking, I remember like now, like you said, to me, it's like it's happening all over again. When we were sitting down with Sandra and yourself, and I had that Eureka moment with you at the time, and I said, oh my God, you have to become mandatory, you have to be studied in school, because actually what you do, you dehypnotize people from their trance of struggles and fear and bad relationships and lack of health and poverty, and you wake them up into who they are, into this amazing self, and it's just a matter of turning their back on themselves, because this is what I did. The minute I remember, I was talking about this with Raymond 2 years ago, last time I been to one of his amazing very exclusive events. We were there together, if you remember, or 3 years ago, I can't remember now. Anyway, so time is not doesn't exist basically. So I wanted to come out from myself and be ahead of myself, but I was keep walking backwards, looking at myself as I was becoming. And that was the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge for me was to turn the back on myself, everything I knew. Yeah. Forget about it. Turn my back on myself and allow my old self to follow my new self. And this is when everything opened up to me. This is when everything absolutely changed. And I feel that I'm me now. I feel that there's nothing that can, nobody, you can take anything from anyone, but you can't take themselves, who they are. Yeah. But once you discover that, it's priceless. And it's a very powerful feeling, because you have to commit yourself to that. You have to take responsibility for who you truly are, your best asset. Yeah. And you cannot do it unless you disconnect from the old self, or being conditioned to think that you are not good enough, you are not young enough, old enough, smart enough, beautiful enough, all this awesomeness that is there, and you don't see it. Yeah. So you have to just take that leap of faith, turn your back on yourself and follow yourself. And then, of course, others will follow. Of course, people will think, oh, if he can do it or she can do it, I can do this. And it's true, it's transferable. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Tom. Oh, God. So dehypnotizing, this is what you do.
I remember vividly you saying this, Marina. I'm sure it was a very small mastermind that we had at Raymond's Golf Club, and I'm sure it was.
Yes.
It was a very profound few days for us as well. But you see, you said something really interesting there, and it's in terms of the questions that the question changes when you step into who you are. You stop asking yourself, what should I become? What should I do? What should I be? And you start asking yourself, who am I? And that opens you up into a really truthful, honest, authentic dialogue with yourself about who you are and how you operate. And you see, it might sound a little woolly at first, but when you really are able to ask yourself that question, then you can start getting quite technical with it,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's the strategic self, like you said, Tom.
Yeah.
You see, I was talking about significance before, remember, because I was obsessed with significance, because you make a significant difference in somebody else's life and that's it. That changes everything. But then I realized that actually you have to be technical. You have to be technical about it. And it's creating your strategic self. So that's why the last module of my program is not about significance anymore, because that scares people. People get afraid of their own greatness.
Yes.
So now what I'm teaching and sharing is creating and delivering. Not only creating, because lots of people create and then hold it to themselves. No, you have to deliver your strategic self.
Yeah.
And embrace the change and adapt to change. Whatever is thrown at you, nothing can be stronger than who you are, because you are your strategic self. I'm sorry, I had to say this. Over to you, Tom.
Yeah, it's so important. And you see, what happens, and I'm talking here from understanding neuro-linguistic programming at quite an advanced level, is that people attempt to apply the techniques of NLP, like anchoring and visualization and all of the techniques that are quite popular, but they do it from a place of being somebody, not who they are. But until you actually have stepped into the person that you are, you don't know what needs changing. So you're applying these NLP techniques or any other kind of cognitive behavioral techniques, and oftentimes people are trying to change the wrong thing. So in becoming sort of in yourself, asking yourself, who am I, you can get technical then about how you operate. There are lots of different ways of looking at this, but in neuro-linguistic programming, we call them meta programs. You can sit down and you say, what kind of person am I? Because there are lots of different kinds of ways that people approach certain things in certain aspects of life. Just an example, you might be a reactive person that responds to changes, or a proactive person that initiates change. You could be a moving away kind of person that avoids things which threaten your success, or you might move towards accomplishment because it energizes you. People have quite sometimes polar opposite ways of dealing with life and what it throws at them. Some people are, for example, externally referenced. They rely on other people to make decisions for them. Some people won't accept anything anybody says because they're internally referenced kind of people. Some people think in detail, some people think in big chunks. So when you're able to step into yourself and say, who am I, you can get quite technical then about, so how do I operate? And when you know how you operate, the exciting bit about this, and research has shown this, if you go right back to Robert Dilts, one of the early pioneers of NLP, when you know what meta programs that are operating within you, then you can change them. And we have lots of ways of bringing that change about. And when you bring a change about at a very deep structure level like this, you can achieve absolutely anything. It's so powerful.
Wow, Tom. In your book, I mean, one of your books, you have so many now. It's. I think what strikes me there is, in a way, it's about everything about you. In a way, it's so much silence as well. It's almost like helping each one of your readers to quiet their mind and see the garden of their soul. This is how I felt reading. And what is the price of silence? I mean, what the because most people are living such hectic life, and everything is crashing down on them, and there's another place they have to go, take the fire extinguisher and stop the fire, and go to another place, jump to another situation, change their hat, wear another hat, and touches my soul. When reading your book, I'm the Midas touch, I'm thinking, what it takes for somebody to be able to quiet their mind in the middle of the midst of everything. What it takes and what is the outcome.
Yeah.
What they could achieve. They can't even imagine what a moment of silence could bring into your life.
Yeah, it's really an area that I've done quite a lot of research into. I don't know if I've told you, Marina, but my master's dissertation is in the subject of silence. So
No, I did not know that.
okay, it's strange how these things come up. So I have a real sense that the power of silence it's incredible, but the other side of the coin to that, if you like, it's a double-edged sword, is that because it's so powerful, people can sometimes be frightened of it. So they fill their lives, they fill silences, they fill these times with stuff, iPhones, iPads,
Yes.
the radio, just stuff around them to keep them away from this silence. And what it does is it keeps them away from themselves and getting to know themselves at a much deeper level. But I never underestimate how frightening that is for some people.
There are people who they cannot go sleep without having something on, like to bring in the noise, the constant noise during the day. They have to take it into the night, because otherwise they can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
And they keep the TV on, and many people are telling me, I think, I don't know, almost everybody I know is sharing this with me, that I can't sleep unless I have the TV on, or I listen to an audiobook, or why is that?
Well, as you said, what it does in a way is it is a continuation, isn't it, of their day. So it stops that process of them switching into themselves. Because you heard the sound of silence can be deafening. You've heard that terminology before, and it can be, because what's actually deafening is what's coming out. It's what's coming up. So I've heard it, as you rightly say, so many times, where people will leave a TV on very low, just some kind of background noise. I remember, it's really interesting you said that, because I remember when I moved from London many years ago, out into the countryside. It was the most bizarre experience, and I had never realized how noisy London was in the evening, at night time, and I had never experienced silence like you get in the countryside in the nighttime. And it took me a long time to adjust to it. And in a sense, I kind of understand then, therefore, how people can want to have that background noise, because when it's always there, when you take it away, it's deafening.
Yeah. Yes. And I think, to me, silence is almost like, I have this word in my mind, but I'm going to say it. Silence for me is serenity.
Yeah.
And of course, I remember that one of the, I think it was a French, I think it was Charles de Gaulle, I think, and yeah, I think he was saying this, that silence is the weapon of power.
Yeah.
And it's not only, perhaps we are talking about different type of silence here, but when you silence yourself or you use silence to make others think, or make yourself think, or reflect on something, or sometimes silence could be the most powerful answer to any question. And there are so many connotations about silence, but what we are referring to is the silence within yourself, and how you detach yourself from the noise and buzz of the daily life into a place where you could quiet your mind and recharge your batteries. And you could only do that by loving yourself, by meeting yourself. It's like having a date with yourself and romancing yourself, you know, because you start listening for a change to your own thoughts. And once you could hear yourself, I think that's serenity.
Yeah. That's a wonderful way of describing it. I've really learned something there for sure. And because what it's really made me think is that, of course, you have a physical silence in terms of sound, but then you have an internal silence, which is where I guess you're trying to switch off that internal self speak, so you can see what's underneath and discover what else is there. And it reminds me of something I'm sure we spoke about on a previous interview, was about the notion of doing that purposefully and doing it on purpose and intentionally. And it's a really powerful thing when you allow yourself to go into periods of silence, and really do that with intention. It reminds me also of something I heard about, which is quite a popular thing that people are doing at the moment, which is these immersion tanks, where they're actually going into an immersion tank which is filled with water and floating, and there's no sound, it's completely silent, there's no light, and they're getting in touch with some really deep, profound, really powerful stuff inside them, that's having an incredible impact on their creativity.
Wow.
I don't know if you've heard of that. It's something I've been looking at.
No, I didn't. No, but I this is the feeling I have each time I speak with you, and you teach us. I feel that I sink into something so deep, so profound, and it's as if I don't want to come out. It's too amazing. It's too exciting. It's like, oh, it's just a very exciting experience, like thinking. And perhaps this is what other people who never had the chance to meet you need. So that's why they go into a tank of a real tank.
Yeah.
But I think it's all in your mind, and whatever happens in your mind, it's coming rightfully out.
Yeah.
But unless it's happening in your mind, cannot come out. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Certainly it's coming from within, because even when they're in an immersion tank and they're shut off completely from the outside world, all they're left with is their senses and what's inside them. So of course it comes from the inside.
Wow.
We
are approaching the last
yes.
few moments of this amazing, great conversations with Tom Barber, and is the power of your mind. It's all about you and how you could understand your mind, what way you choose to understand your mind, because it is a choice. Before we go, Tom, if you could just send out share the key message for today, because there are so many amazing different messages. But what would be the key message you want to share today with our listeners? Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I could keep going. I really enjoy these interviews, Marina. I guess for me the key message is, and it came out of what you described earlier, in terms of stepping into yourself, to enable yourself to ask the question, who am I? And when you ask that question, who am I, then you're at the point of readiness to get technical, to find out the strategies that you use to deal with situations in life, to find out the meta programs that are running that guide those. And you can do it from a place where that's going to create real fundamental change. And this idea that changes have to happen slowly, it's not true. You can create changes very quickly, but it has to be from the right place. So that's my message. I guess out of today, and with your help, actually, it's really brought something out of me. So yeah, that's I think what feels important.
Wow. So it's not only specialized knowledge we are learning here, Tom, is understanding how to listen to your own voice. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening in. Please send your questions, read Tom's books, read Sandra's books, connect with them. They run the Intelligent Self-Help School. And you have to go all in if you want to understand your mind. From both of us, until next time, is goodbye.
Bye-bye.